to today's. Okay, I'm gonna start again because now I heard recording in progress. Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to today's pitch session with our startup Mewery. Quite an interesting case that we have here, and the CEO and founder Roman Laus being with us. Before I hand over to Roman to introduce himself at Mewery, couple of housekeeping for the ones of you who don't know me yet. I'm the deal captain for the Mewery deal and the regional manager for the DACH region at SeedBlink. This webinar / pitch session will be recorded, as you might have already heard, and background being that also for the investors who registered for this pitch session but might not have time to join, they will obviously get the link as a follow-up. And without further ado, I would like to hand over to Roman so he can introduce in his own words his small baby called Mewery, which I believe is quite a revolutionary startup here. Roman, please.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Ronald, for nice words to start with. And as you said, I love to present you here not only my baby, but baby of our team. We are already 10 people working towards cultivated meat platform for the last 2.5 years. And before I jump into what we do and who we are, as I was asked, I will give you a bit of background, like how I started this venture and why. So shortly, my background is in different fields. I started an IT company more than 20 years ago, which is still up and running and paying my bills, which I'm very grateful for, to do different ventures throughout my life. And last 20 years, I invested in a couple of startups. I was co-founder of actually very successful real estate innovative business, which we exited in a very short time, and we sold it to one of the biggest real estate developer here in the region. But the main reason why I started Mewery as of now was being a member of founding team of FuturePop Prague, which was an experiment of bringing new technologies to people in Central Europe via the event. And it ended up to be a very successful event with 10,000 people before COVID, physical attendees and hundreds of companies showcasing the future of technology and humanity. And I was studying exponential technologies in US by then, and I came across alternative proteins and these new ways of making actually food available for people in decades to come. And this brought me to founding this company together with my partner Christina and several very first employees. We put together the best science minds we could find in the region. And today, I mean, I'm very proud to say we are already a global food and deep tech startup. We are not just creating a product, but we are more a platform for cell-cultivated meat products, which in other words means that we can create through our technology a meat which is made from cells of animals without killing the animals or harming significantly our planet. And we use a proprietary patent pending method, which is the co-cultured method of animal and microalgae cells. I'm sure some of you might have seen different companies in US and Europe developing cell-cultivated meat, mainly chicken. But in our case, we have a novel method of cultivating two organisms together to bring the costs down and creating new kind of cultivated meat products for different industries. Our great achievement of last year has been the third prototype which came out of our lab, and this was the last prototype we unveiled in the huge event here in the Czech Republic. And this was the cultured pork burger combining microalgae cells and porcine cells. And what we are aiming for here is to create a healthier version of meat. Pork is not the last we stop with. This is our first, one of the most complicated cells to cultivate. But once we, master pork, we go more to chicken and beef and also fish. But we want to do one thing by time. So we have chosen our first product to be a cultivated pork burger, which we call the healthier version of meat, because it combines the good from pork, because we use pork cells, porcine cells, and superfood as microalgae are being considered. And we are really using the minerals, vitamins, phytonutrients, and fatty acids, which are not even in the conventional meat as such. So we are creating really new superfood pork meat. And we believe that cultivated meat is one of the solutions also for climate change, not the only one, but very important part of this sustainable goals and sustainable transition, with 90% fewer emissions needed or emitted, 95% less land needed, and 80% less water needed. Not talking about no animals killed. You might ask, is it really natural? Is it, something from lab? I would tell you, yogurt is also coming from lab, and nobody's asked the question anymore. That's why this is where our name comes from, and we are called Mewery, which means meat and brewery, because these, I would say, facilities, they look more like breweries rather than lab. It's developed in lab, and therefore it's, I can even say it's even safe or more safe or safer than what we see here. At the slaughterhouses, where there are many different challenges they have also to make it sterile and to make it clean. So in terms of health, I would say we are not competing with conventional meat, and we don't want to replace them. We just want to complement. This is very important to say. And we think we can really help to feed this planet with not only, I would say, different technology, which is safe, but which is also healthy, because this kind of meat you can do in different ratios, of fat and muscle cells, and so on and so forth. So it's basically, there is a huge potential of creating new kind of food, which is healthy, safe, and natural. This is the question, what is natural? But the most natural for cells is to proliferate, is to grow. And we are basically doing it only in an unnatural environment, but it's natural for cells to grow to muscle and to fat. So we understand from the business perspective that this industry has been here for last, let's say, 8 to 10 years, and has been known for very high capex and very difficult scalability, and so on and so forth. We believe that our solution is actually tackling most of the problems we have seen. By co-culture, we are reducing the cell death, so our cells are growing very well, and we are increasing overall yield. In other words, we are able to basically harvest much more per liter than known methods. And on top, the mass is fortified with rich nutrients, as I said earlier. And we are developing and co-developing with one of the another startup, a food-grade bioreactors for co-culture, which were not done before and which are very low in capex. And for all the co-cultivation method, we have a provisional patent being in the process in US as we speak. So I will not go much into the science. You can ask furthermore, but very briefly, I want to say we are growing all the cells in-house. We are not buying third-party cells from somewhere else. We are taking umbilical cords, we are isolating our cells, we are growing our microalgae, and we co-cultivate them in the in-house bioreactors here, and we are getting to 45 mass in the end. We have developed a stable cell line, which is a non-GMO line, which is very important for scale up. And we are using 10 years of research of academia of one of our member, the assistant professor here. And we are working with 30 species of microalgae strains. We have developed our own serum 3 media, which is number one for scale up, and also the main decisive factor of cost in the end, and we have achieved 3 euro per liter. We are going towards 1 euro and even below very soon. This is our main USP as a part of the patent. It's not really explained in detail, but just in brief, we are basically by this co-cultivation, we can create 3D structure, and thanks to microalgae, the oxygen pores or goes through the media thanks to the pores of microalgae, and our mammalian cells, they don't die from inside out. And this is the reason why we achieve very high yield so far. We are in 200-liter scale in terms of microalgae and also co-culture, and we are developing this photobioreactor, as I said, which should be 60% lower in cost. In terms of competition, there are companies, and everybody is trying different approaches. We are the only company in the world who demonstrated the ability to grow these pig cells in co-culture with microalgae, having much higher yield and much lower production costs. Not talking about nutritionally richer mass, which you can hardly do in monoculture. We have done 3 prototypes, as I mentioned before. We are plus 80% higher in protein volume, 90% less saturated fat, and we contribute to a lot of actually good healthy benefits in terms of the product. We are winning the fortified cultivated meat segment, which the meat market as such, it's projected to be 1.7 trillion. It's already 1.4. And if we go to some here, it's for us, it's 23 billion euro cultivated pork market, from which we believe we can also take a fortified part, which is at the moment we are leading this category because we are having a nutritionally richer product we can create thanks to our co-cultivation. Our business model is B2B licensing model, where we create joint partnerships with our partners. Our main core business is meat cultivation, but we are also looking at microalgae extracts and technology to create faster revenues, especially for our investors. And in terms of the meat cultivation here, we have created all-in commercial platform. I have not much time to go in, but you can ask more in the question and answers. This is we are calling it bringing cultivated meat technology on the silver plate to our partners. Basically, those who want to enter the market, which might seem to be very complicated and still emerging and being created as we speak. We are bringing the product recipe, the technology, our IP, and dossier readiness to our clients, to our partners, to actually start building together the facility for production of our first burger product or burger patty product in years to come. These are our customer terms. We have starter and full pack for our licenses and revenue royalty fee model, depending on whether the partner wants to be more safe with starter pack or go directly to higher volumes and bigger markets. We are having already a couple of joint venture partners in talks in our pipeline. We have a couple of LOIs already, even in our early stage. And our plan go-to-market strategy is to have a pre-commercial facility in Switzerland 2026, because one of our investors are having a cooperation with Biele, Migros, and Givaudan there, and we demonstrate our ability of actually creating what we are saying in theory, or what we can show you in our lab. We want to show in the pre-commercial facility, which help us to move to our first commercial facility to US with one of our partner in 2027. In terms of production price, I mean, why they should choose us? As we said, we are very competitive. Our aim is to get to 13 euro production price for the whole biomass and the end product. As we said, we are very low in media price as of today, and we believe that we can come to price parity with the conventional meat in years to come. Our commercialization plan, you can see here, it's based on selling the licenses, I mean, starter or full licenses. And our strategy is the minimum we need 5 years to be able for exit or IPO. we really believe that this industry has a huge multiplier, and we can create a positive EBITDA actually in few years to come. We have all the all the financials we have written down and analyzed, so we can talk more in details. But this is our exit strategy plan, which we could achieve already in 5 years, which is very I would say positive for this new industry. As I said, we have different revenue streams. We are talking to some of the clients in microalgae extracts. Again, I don't have much time to go into details, but we are basically recycling the media. We can use it for creating microalgae biomass for different commercial use in food supplements and cosmetic industries, which is also quite a huge potential here, but it's more like a side project of our, I would say, side recycling, which we anyway need to do. We need to reuse the media because of circularity as such. And last but not least, we are also using 50% of our 200-liter bioreactor to rent. To also, we are cooperating with different universities to also have more revenues sooner than coming to the market with our licensing model. So this is a financial summary. These are our assumptions and projections for years to come. We've been awarded, I always say, I think we've been awarded too much for our stage, but I'm very proud of being awarded by United Nations of one of the best contributor to solve the climate change problem. We won from 300 startups as a most innovative, and a couple of others which we are very grateful for. But I think we need to deliver the bioprocess and the whole entire technology and license it and sell it with our partner. Then I will consider the real success. But we are very happy to be recognized in such an early stage. We are a proud member of CELAC Europe, which is pushing the cultivated meat in the legislation of Europe. I'm a part of the board there, and we have a lot of universities and institutions having our back. It's not about me. I mean, I started the whole venture, but it's more about these people. Vladislav, who is a Harvard fellow, spent a couple of years in Harvard in different teams. Our CSO, Dalibor, bringing microalgae expertise. Like we could not find anyone better here in the region. My girlfriend and partner Christina, who helped me to actually start this venture, and our chief commercial officer Rostislav, having 20 years in business. This is the dream team. I know every startup tells you they have a best team, but at least I can say I'm very proud to sit with these people in one room every day, because most of them are a couple of years after PhD or with a lot of experience from business or science as such. So just to finish up, we started with our research January 22. Then we showed our 100 cell based prototype. Then we showed the first cultivated pork burger, getting our own cell bank, which is important for scale up. We were granted by Czech government the money, and now we are at the stage of making a pre-seed extension with 750K, which part of it it's on SeedBlink, and which we are very grateful for. We are very close to get 2.5 million grant from EIC, and we plan to do a 6 million round next year, by the end of the next year, and then start to sell the first licenses, as was said before. This is just a summary. I think I will give you more time for asking questions. In terms of financial planning investment landscape, we are trusted by Big Idea Ventures, Purple Ventures, and Credo Ventures. Credo is one of the biggest CEE investor in the whole region. And as I said, we have a couple of grants, not only EIC, but a couple of grants in the process. So we expect at least 1 or 2 of them being granted next year. And for this, we also need this pre-seed round we are just raising. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Roman. I wanted to ask a couple of questions, but honestly, priorities to our investors, and the investors have questions already. And the first one being, are you working on the technology/US patent for beef meat also? I guess that relates to the fact that you're focusing a bit on the first use case being pork meat. And the question is, are you working on the beef meat also, especially in the US?
We honestly, when we started, I made my business diligence very thoroughly, and we realized there are very few companies doing pork and porcine cells, which are considered to be more complicated. And so we patent the whole process via a platform. So we definitely mention and give results from our porcine cell line, but we are also saying that we want this platform to be universal. So co-cultivation on test porcine cells or pork cells, but we want to go to beef, chicken, and fish later on. But we didn't really specifically, we didn't file the patent for beef, but more as a platform, but showing examples from pork, because this is what we are working with at the moment.
Mhm. And maybe to the point, to the technology itself. So first question, obviously, when are we gonna eat the first pork burger coming out of Mewery? When am I gonna eat the first pork burger coming out of Mewery?
So first, what we are working on is we are working with Czech government for tasting law. If you have seen this first burger we have shown, it was not allowed to have it on Rock for People, this big event, to be consumed publicly on stage by one of the front men of these. I don't know. We were talking that Red Hot Chili Peppers could basically have it tasted. They didn't come in the end, and also they didn't allow us. The government didn't allow us to do so. So basically, we started to work on a special law, and we have a working group already at the Czech government as we speak, and it seems that next year we should have a framework where you could come over to Czech here, we could go to restaurant, and then we could already have a tasting event. Nevertheless, I just want to one more time underline that we are licensing provider. We are not really selling the burger as such as a product, but we are doing this with joint venture partnership as I was talking before. But of course, we need to show the product, because this is what we want to offer to our partners, that they don't need to create the whole recipe on their own.
Got it. And when it comes to the cultivation and the technology itself, you said that Mewery is the only company that has demonstrated this ability to grow porcine pork cells in co-cultivation. In non-technical terms, why is it so amazingly tricky to cultivate pork cells if you compare it to other meat cells like beef, veal, whatever?
Okay, I wouldn't say it's way different. The only thing was to start with was more complicated by then, like 2 to 3 years ago, because beef cells has been characterized and has been available for years, and fetal bovine serum, just by name, it's fetal bovine serum, which was used for many years as a reference for proliferation or for growing the cells. So it's easier to start with. Chicken is also very easy to isolate because you can use chicken eggs. This is you have embryonic cells, but with pork, there was not much covered in academic papers, and also it was not. I wouldn't say there was not used, because it's even used in some other cell therapy applications, but was not much used also in cultivated meat when we were starting. So I don't want to say it's completely different, because our platform, when you master our pork cells, we already tried beef and chicken, and it worked quite well. You need tweaks. I don't want to say we can do everything as a startup. This I don't like so much. Of course, we have the ability to, as a platform, to work with any species, but we chose pork exactly because of these reasons, to master the not much actually cultivated by then. There are more companies now doing pork as of now, but there were very few when we were starting. Number one. Number two, the reason was that it's the second most consumed meat worldwide, and in Europe, actually, in our countries, is the most. consumed, and it's also huge in China, Singapore, Japan, like all the Asia. Actually, it's quite yeah, the pork is quite big there. So, but it doesn't mean that we would stop there.
I understand.
But what I'm trying to tell, one more maybe point here, it's not about we would need microalgae to grow pork cells. We wanted to come with something really different, because all the companies, they are doing monoculture, and they are using the pharma grade bioreactors, which in our opinion, it's really hard to come to unit economics which are making sense. So with this co-culture, we have realized our scientists even didn't know all the benefits. At first, it was, let's put the cost down, okay? So I didn't say it at the presentation, but we used microalgae to replace FBS, which is the main component in pharma industry to cultivate cells. And this is ethically and economically not feasible. Second, thanks to our extracts, we can basically make our medium, which is very, very low in components. There are very few components, and they are not even animal origin, but they are microalgae origin. And third, what I mentioned is that this co-cultivation creates this 3D structure, so we don't need the scaffold, as it called, where the normally cells adhere on. But we just create this co-culture. They love each other, basically, they support each other, and they create very high and big aggregates we can harvest. And on top, we can program the way how these microalgae are behaving. So what color they have, texture, the nutritional profile, because we are using many kinds of microalgae, and we can basically have it already in the upstream, which is also a huge USP for us.
Got it. I was just smiling a bit because I'm based here in Vienna, Austria, and famously, Austria has the highest pork consumption per capita globally, easily explainable by our ferocious appetite towards schnitzel.
Yes.
So I get that market demand. You mentioned on the site beforehand, Roman, and I think it's important to understand your three quite well-known co-investors. So it's Credo Ventures, it's Purple Ventures, it's Big Idea Ventures. Now this is what we found quite remarkable, given that you're doing a pre-seed round extensions, but already having three well-known VCs sitting on your cap table. So can you say how was the interaction with those VCs, and how much have they shown interest in support Mewery at this very early stage?
Yeah, this was, for me, was mind-blowing, because we were selected from all, like, more than 360 startups worldwide. We were selected as 6 startups in Europe. Big Idea Ventures wanted to invest in, and they actually found us. It was but a very, very early stage, where we had only assumptions about this co-culture. We didn't have a patent pending. We were just putting all the ideas together. We had a couple of experiments already done in Academy of Science, but they really gave us a hard time. And it took 2 months. They were sending it all over the world, Singapore, New York, when they had their scientists. And we got probably the most questions we ever got on our science, which help us to think and also to find out the potential. And long story short, in the end, they said, if you manage to do this novelty for cultivated meat in scale, you might disrupt the whole industry, because everybody knew that time is very hard to scale, is very cost non-effective, I would say. And this was the reason why they invested to us and actually are helping us until today. And I think being only Czech company chosen over, I don't know how many years they've been investing, was a huge PR for us. I mean, I wake up next morning, I had, I don't know, 150 emails from investors all over the world. And that time we didn't need that much cash, and there was a lot already available. So we chose those who were like closest to our heart. So first was Purple Ventures, where I knew them. I mean, the way how they do business and also investment. it's really dear to me. I know one of the founders. And then we also were approached by Credo Ventures, which we thought we are too early for. But in the end of the meeting, it was very, very clear that Ondřej Bartoš, who is the partner and I mean the scout for founders and new ventures, really seen the potential of this company to become like unicorn in the in the future. So he said we want to be very, very early part of this, and this was, of course, until today I really appreciate it because it's a big honor to be in their family so early, because normally they do much bigger investments.
Understood. Yeah, that's what we found quite attractive as well. On the business model itself, you said you are pursuing basically a licensing-based business model. This is all clear and understood, and I think it makes sense from a go-to-market perspective. If we look towards what people might assume your competition could be, Beyond Meat being one, Aleph Farms you mentioned as well on one of your slides. Is this like the way to go to market in this kind of industry, or is Mewery doing something pioneering work here?
It's difficult to say. I would say the first generation cultivated meat companies, they tend to have their brand and come to market. This was also my dream, but it dissolved very early, because you would need a lot of capex and a lot of actually years to make your brand and come to US market. So very early on, we started to talk to big brands, even when we didn't really have the technology completely ready, because it's good to be part of the ecosystem very early on. We were even, I would say, contacted by a few of these big corps just to know what we do, and some of them are still want to be kept in the loop. There were even some IP buyout require inquiries. I know we are still early, but already in such early stage, and I had a couple of companies behind me, and this never happened. I mean, in any of the company I was part of, then you are such a small startup, and then such a big corporations are coming. It doesn't mean that it will happen tomorrow, but just the interest was very interesting. So we already very early on have developed this licensing model, what I would say is unique, and we are also like very transparent about it, because other companies don't really say how they're gonna sell it. We are very transparent, saying we are giving everything on a silver plate, as I said, and this I would say is very unique. We are even sending our team members over to their facilities for a year. It's 8 to 12 months, depending how much they really need and what is their R&D personnel and their experience on cultivated meat, if any, because in most cases they have no experience with cultivated meat. So I would say this is very unique. Plus our starter license, I would say it's also pretty new concept, because it's not a high initial fee, and it has a lot of space for experimentation, a lot of space in potential co-development and so on and so forth. But I would say other companies probably go also somehow in partnership with some of the big corporations. I mean, we have seen some of the announcements. One more thing, it's different if we talk about cultivated meat and plant-based meat, because plant-based is basically made from plants, and cultivated is meat from meat, as I like to say.
Very important. All right, I'm just checking my notes. I think I had the questions from the investors answered. So Mewery is currently on the SeedBlink platform, the investment instrument being a SAFE with a valuation cap of 8 million. It's a pre-seed extension, obviously. So already 150K pre-committed by, as we talked about, quite well-known co-investors. And we would aim to close the round before Christmas, I guess around the 15th, 20th of the year. The year is more or less ending, and that's why we set the deadline accordingly. So if you're interested, please look at our platform. You can invest there as usual. If there's any questions, you can also use our platform to ask in the discussion section. Having said that, Roman, thank you very much indeed for your time. Very interesting topic that is close to my heart, I have to say. That's why I'm biased. And thanks for the participation, and have a great rest of the Monday and a good start into the week, everybody. Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.